Good morning. It's Tom Soane here. Thank you very much for joining me. And today I'm going to try something a little bit different. Because, look, if anybody knows me, you know I love a motivational quote. You know I love an inspirational quote or an inspirational person that shares their advice and their habits and their experiences purely to try and help other people. So this morning, as I was scrolling through Facebook, as we all do, we wake up in the morning, we come downstairs, grab a coffee and scroll through Facebook. Well, my Facebook might be a little bit different to everybody else's. I think my Facebook's a bit geeky. It's full of property stuff and investment stuff and business stuff. But I also love a motivational quote. I love inspirational quotes. But the reason I like them is because I try and relate them to my world. I try and translate them or interpret them into a way that fits with me. And at the moment, that's property and business. And this morning, I read something called the 10 Steps to Self-Care. Now, wait. Before you turn this off and say, I'm not interested in self-development or education or any sort of motivational quotes, hear me out on this. And I'd love to know your thoughts, because as I was reading through these, I was just thinking of a property and a property and a property and another property. And it really made me think about more motivational quotes that maybe, as they are in their current form, don't relate to property investors or landlords or people in the property industry, but just with a little bit of tweaking could actually provide some real solid advice. So what I've done is I've really analysed this here, and I've come up with these 10 steps, and I've called it 10 steps towards being an anonymous landlord. Sorry for the pun, sorry for the link. I definitely did mean it. But look, let me go through these, and I'd love to know your thoughts as we go. And it's not going to take too long, but these 10 steps towards being the anonymous landlord come from a little guide that I read called the 10 Steps to Self-Care. So, how does this all relate to property? So step number one, and I will post the picture that I've seen, or I'll maybe brand it up a little bit for myself. Let's see. But step number one is, if it feels wrong, don't do it. And I think we can all relate to that if we're in the property industry, right? If it feels wrong, don't do it. So if you're out viewing a property, maybe you're looking for a flip to let or a flip to sell or a rent to rent or a serviced accommodation or a buy, refurbish, refinance, whatever you're thinking of doing, if you go into that property and it just feels wrong, then don't do it. And there's a number of factors that might contribute to that feeling wrong. It could be that the person trying to sell the property is just blagging and trying to sell and trying to hide your gaze or hide your views of certain parts of the property, or maybe redirect your attention elsewhere. But I think you have to stay true to yourself, and you have to feel to yourself, if this property feels wrong, I am not buying it. It's as simple as that. Or I'm not investing in it. Simple as that. So remember step number one. If it feels wrong, don't do it. Now, it might not be wrong. It might not be a bad property. But think about it in the longer term. If right at the start, at that initial viewing, it feels wrong, then don't buy it. Because if it feels wrong now, it's going to feel wrong all the way through your investment journey with that property. Similarly, if you do make an offer, maybe you don't get that wrong feeling at your initial viewing, and you go a bit further down the line, you get an offer accepted, and you're going through that conveyancing process where it's from sale agreed to completion. And again, something's just feeling wrong. Something's not quite right or slotting into place. Then don't be afraid to stop. Because actually, if you feel wrong on your investment journey, then it's going to ruin your investment journey, and it might cause you to make more mistakes. So if it feels wrong, don't do it. That's step number one. Step number two, say exactly what you mean. Now, I'm going to slightly chop that up a bit and rephrase it. Say precisely what you mean and exactly what you intend. And by that, I mean, if you're going to make an offer, then share your calculations. Share with the agent or with the owner or with the person that you're buying through. Share exactly how you're calculating your purchase, because remember, it's your purchase, but say exactly and be precise and be honest. Tell them the purchase price is this, stamp duty is this, legal costs are this, my refurbishment costs are going to be this, and my contingency is this. And then when you share that information with them, you can then say, and look, I'm an investor, so I need to make a profit. So this is what my profit will be, because I think I'm going to resell it after I've invested all my money. I think I'm going to resell it for this amount. Or if you're buying to let, then you can say, this is how much I intend to rent the property out for once I've spent all this money. And this is the return I expect. This is the yield I expect. So say exactly what you mean and be precise about your calculation and what you intend to achieve with this property. Try to remember that sellers aren't stupid. If they're selling a real rundown property that needs full refurbishment throughout, then the chances are they know they're going to sell to an investor. And everybody knows that an investor is an investor. They're not investing out of the kindness of their heart. They're not going to give you free money. They're investing because they want to invest their money and turn it into a bit more money. And that's their right. And everybody is entitled to that. You hear me say that a lot on my podcast, that people are entitled to make profit. It's okay. As long as you're honest about it and you're not doing it in a dodgy way, it's okay to make profit. So please go and make profit. But remember, say exactly what you mean and be precise in what you say, and share your calculations with the people that you're buying from and help them understand your goals and your intentions. And you know what? I spoke to David Siegler the other day, and if anybody doesn't know David Siegler, look him up on Facebook, on his podcast. I actually interviewed him on Thursday, and it'll be coming out in a couple of weeks. But that is a same thing. You know, you go into all these estate agents trying to find deals, then you've got to give them the right information, and you've got to let them see what your intentions are honestly and openly. Anyway, so say exactly what you mean, be precise, and share your calculations. Step number 3 is don't be a people pleaser. This is a real tough one, because there are a lot of people on the planet, and trust me on this, I know that this is kind of wishy-washy perhaps, but if you follow these 10 things, then I promise you will be a better investor, a better business person, a better landlord, a better investor in anything. It doesn't have to be property. But don't be a people pleaser. Now, that's quite simple. Sometimes look, people won't feel comfortable admitting this, but sometimes your ego can get in the way, and sometimes you bump your offer up. Sometimes you're a little bit too generous. Sometimes you're a little bit too flexible, a little bit too accommodating, and you allow people to walk over you a little bit because you're afraid of not pleasing them. And there's a bit of validation required. You need to be accepted as a property investor. So sometimes I'm the same. Sometimes I get a little bit too generous with things. Sometimes I allow people to take a bit more from me than perhaps I intended to. And you know what? That's something I'm working on myself. I don't want to upset people. I don't want to displease people. But I certainly don't want my need, if you like, to please people to get in the way of making solid, sound investments, or losing me some money or anything like that. So, you know what? I'm working on that. And I think if I can share that advice with you, I think you should work on that too. Don't be a people pleaser, or try not to be a people pleaser. Try not to let your need for pleasing people dictate your property investments. Stick to the solid property investments. Do the maths, do the sums, make sure you're going to get the right yield, and then you can move in for the deal and go for the deal. Step number 4 is trust your instincts. And this links with step number 1, where I said, if it feels wrong, don't do it. Trust your instincts means once you're learning all this stuff from me, right? You're following Rob Moore. You're learning all this stuff from him. You're following David Siegler, Tony Fairs, all these people that you're learning from. Hannah White, Kirsty, all of the people around the property industry around the country that are sharing all their knowledge with you. You're learning all this stuff, right? So then when you get out to a property investment opportunity, you've got to then trust your instincts, because you've learned this stuff. You've learned how to calculate true yield. And I've banged on about true yield so many times. Hopefully it's embedded in you by now and will never leave your minds. But trust your instincts. You know this stuff. You know maths. We did it at school. You know how to calculate what your return on investment is going to be. And if you're not sure exactly what your return on investment is going to be, then just look up Tom Soane True Yield or give me a call. I'll help you calculate. I have a pretty elaborate true yield calculator that I use for every single property deal. Now, I'm happy to help you with your true yield and help you calculate what it might be, but you've got to trust your own instincts. If you walk into a property, you've done the maths and you're going to start trying to work out whether you can make it fit, don't ignore your instincts. The next one, step number 5, is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Yes. Step number 5 was quite difficult to turn into property investing business. But it doesn't seem so now, but it was at the beginning, right? So the tip is, or the step is, never speak bad about yourself. So I've turned that round a bit. When you're speaking to agents and property sources and deal packages or anybody that might be able to bring you a deal or might be able to give you a property investment, or sellers or anybody, then don't speak bad about yourself. Don't tell them the negative parts from the beginning. Get the offer accepted and then you can open up a bit more about your bad parts. But never speak bad about yourself, okay? But I do think we should share our weaknesses. And I do think we should be honest with ourselves about our weaknesses with ourselves and our bad parts. But if you're out looking for a property deal, then I think you should speak good about yourself. I think you should really big yourself up. Share your achievements and your successes and your goals and your motivation and your drive. Share all those things. Never speak bad about yourself, but speak good about yourself, because you're awesome. You are actually awesome. Because look, what you're doing right now is you're watching this video or you're listening to my podcast, and your intention for doing that is to learn and grow and improve yourself so that you could be the best version of yourself that you could possibly be. And I've made up a little bit of a phrase that if you want to be the best version of yourself at one thing, you have to be the best version of yourself at everything. And that is in growth of yourself, in improvement of your own education and drive and motivation and inspiration. If you can be the best version of yourself in all of those things, then you'll be the best version of yourself in each individual thing, like property, business, family, fathering, husbanding, golf, hair loss, all of those things you'll be the best version of yourself in. So never speak bad about yourself, always speak good about yourself, but also be honest with yourself about your bad stuff. Everybody's got bad stuff, certainly, but you know what? Some people are better at hiding it than others, but it all comes out in the end, so you might as well get it out now. You might as well be honest with yourself now, be honest with people now. But always speak good about yourself, because you are awesome. I promise you, you are awesome. Think about the things that you've already achieved in your life. Doesn't matter whether you woke up this morning feeling up here. Doesn't matter whether you woke up and thought, yes, I'm going to have a great day today. Or whether you woke up and thought, oh, I feel a bit shitty today. Oh, bleep that out. Feeling a bit beep today. Doesn't matter. Look at the things you've achieved in your life and tell me you're not awesome, because you are awesome. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. So, never speak bad about yourself, always speak good about yourself, but be honest with yourself about your bad stuff, and be honest with yourself and recognize your stuff for your good stuff. Tell yourself, hey, I'm awesome. Look at what I've done. Anyway, step number 6 is never give up on your dreams. I love this one. Now, I'm going to chuck in a little bit of a right hook here, right? Never give up on your dreams is technically bad advice, because what if your dreams are destined to hurt you or hurt others, right? So whilst I say never give up on your dreams, I will say give up on them if they're crap. We'll beat that out. Is crap a swear word? I don't know. Never give up on your dreams, okay? But set your dreams, set your goals, set your targets, plan it out. But if it turns out to be actually the wrong dream for you, don't stick to it if it's the wrong dream for you. If it's the right dream for you, stick to it, never give up, follow that plan through, keep it going all the way through until you achieve it. If it's the wrong dream for you, give up. Do something else. Give up now, because you don't want to get to 30, 40, 50 years down the line and have this horrible regret that you followed the wrong dream for you. Now, how do you know if it's the right dream for you or the wrong dream for you? Well, you know what? Your property goal is your property goal. My number, as everybody knows, my magic number is 30. That's my goal. My goal is to have 30 properties, and I target that that's going to generate an income of between 9 and 10,000 a month. Profit. That's my goal. So if I can get to that position, then I will be very happy. So there's my goal. Now, you need to set your dream. What is your dream? Is it financial? Is it wealth? Is it asset value? Is it something for your kids that you can leave to them? Is it having a great pension? Is it a monetary figure, or is it a feeling or something else? Either way, set your dream and never give up on it unless it's the wrong dream. Always review your dream. I think that's really important. Someone once said to me a long time ago, you don't know where you're going unless you know where you've been. And actually, that's a really good point. Certainly in property, you're going to make mistakes along the way. And if you make a mistake, you learn from it, you record it, you report on it, you analyze it, and you decide for yourself, what would I have done different on that property? What will I do next time if I come over that problem again? So step number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Step number 7 is don't be afraid to say no. And this is all linked with all of this stuff. You go and see a property, right? And you love it. It's a beautiful property and you love it for yourself, but the maths don't work. The maths doesn't work. It doesn't really work out to be a great investment. But you love it so much, you think, oh yeah, but I really like it. It's not a great investment, but I really like it. Don't be afraid to say no. Also, if you feel pressured, and this is a big one, so many people feel pressured to say yes. Remember, if you're sat in front of a estate agent or a seller or anybody that you're trying to haggle a property deal with, and they're putting pressure on you, and they're trying to pull the wool over your eyes, and they're trying to sell to you, sell all the features, don't be afraid to say no. And no can come in many forms. You can say, no, I'm not going to decide now. I'm going to go away and do the maths and then come back to you later today or tomorrow. Or no, I'm not going to make a decision right here because I'm feeling pressured. And remember, going back to the earlier ones, be honest with people. Say exactly what you mean. I feel pressured right now, so I'm not going to say yes right now. I'm not going to say no, but I am going to say no to making a decision. Or if you work out your calculations with this property, don't be afraid to say no to the seller, no to the agent or whatever. And look, the agent's job is to sell you a property. They want you to buy that property because then they could get paid from the seller. And they wouldn't be doing their job if they didn't try to sell the property to you. Because remember, you don't pay the agent as the buyer. Only the seller pays the agent. So they're going to put the pressure on you, and quite rightly so. They're just doing their job. Don't hold it against them. But you have to be strong enough to say no if you do not agree with that property deal. Tip number, God, I'm losing it a bit here. Tip number 8, no, I don't know. 8, 7 or 8, whatever. The next tip is don't be afraid to say yes. I know it sounds mental, doesn't it? But do you know what? I meet property investors that overanalyze things and worry too much about things outside of their control, and it stops them from taking a property deal, takes them from seizing the day. And not just property investors, business owners, investors in other things, they all have this fear of saying yes. And it sounds like a weird thing. I have it too sometimes, because you think, you know, that old phrase is, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Well, maybe. Or maybe it's just good. And you are fearful of things that you don't understand, or maybe you're a bit uncertain, and that's okay. But don't be afraid to say yes. And certainly in property, you can make an offer on a property and you can buy a property without committing to it. In this country, the law is right now, and it's probably going to change in the future, but the law is right now that you can make an offer on a property and you are not committed to that property. In fact, you can get all the way through the process right up until the exchange of contracts and you're still not committed. All right, it might cost you a bit of money, But don't be afraid to say, yes, I'm going to go for this property, and then later down the line, look, I'm not saying do this. I'm not saying I'm not encouraging this, but I'm saying you are legally entitled to do that. But don't be afraid to say yes. You know what Rob Moore says? He says, if you don't risk anything, you risk everything. And I 100% agree with that. Because if you are that person who you're looking at a good deal, and that doesn't matter whether it's property, another investment, or an opportunity, or a business, or whatever. If you're looking at that property deal and you are thinking to yourself, your brain is telling you, yes, this is a good deal. You've done the maths. You've worked all the true yield after you've done the job, after you've bought the property. You've worked it all out and it works. But your heart is saying to you, I'm uncertain. Then you're always going to stop yourself from saying yes. So don't be afraid to say yes. Now, I know that kind of counteracts things like trust your instincts and so on like that, but it is all interlinked. Sometimes your instinct is telling you to say yes to a property deal, but something is making you scared. And some people have a fear of success. Some people have a fear of the unknown. Some people have a fear of uncertainty. And that's all right, because maths is the answer. If in doubt, work it out. And I'm just going to coin that phrase. I've literally just made that up. If in doubt, work it out. And you've got to do the reactions. If in doubt, work it out. So look, what I guess I'm saying there is if there is any doubt in your mind, revert back to the mathematics. That will work it all out for you. The next tip, and I don't know what number I'm on now, and if anybody could let me know what number I'm on, that'd be great, but I bet you're just as lost as I am. Hey, shock horror, Tom Soane's gone off on a waffle again. Anyway, the next tip is be kind to yourself. Now, I learned this from a very clever property investor called Mark Shaw. Hello, Mark, if you're listening. Mark Shaw taught me that every time I do a deal, every time I achieve a success, I've got to reward myself. And that's how I've interpreted this. So when I do a flip, when I get a good buy to let, when I do a property deal, maybe I package up a deal and I sell it to another property investor, or maybe we hit a business target, or we achieve something phenomenal within the business. So right now we've just rebuilt the entire lettings department, and we've called it Project New Look Lettings, and we've achieved that, or we're just about to achieve that this week. And so I'm going to reward myself for that. So be kind to yourself. If you do a good property deal, give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself a pat on the back because you've earned it. You've worked hard and you've been clever and you've done everything that you need to do to achieve that goal. So be kind to yourself. Let go of what you can't control. And I'm speaking firsthand here. I've just had a couple of a couple of challenges with a property flip because of things that were outside of my control, ended up costing an extra $3,500 to do the refurbishment. But it was outside of my control. There was nothing I could do about it. It had to be done, and nobody could have foreseen those issues. So luckily, I calculate a contingency into all of my refurbishments, and it kind of covered the problems. But let go of what you can't control because you can't control it. If you focus on everything that you can control, but just be aware of the things that you can't control, then you will be a better property investor, a better investor landlord, a better business person, and a better person. You'll be better in life if you don't allow the things that you can't control to take over. That's what we are all guilty of sometimes. We worry about things and we stress about things that we can't control. And it's the same in property, it's the same in business, and it's the same in life. We can't control them. So why are we spending our effort and our energy stressing and ruining other things? Because that's all we end up doing. We end up ruining other things because we're worrying about things that we can't control. So therefore we might miss the things that we can control. So I urge you, property investors and investor landlords and business owners and business people, I urge you, let go of the things that you can't control. Don't ignore them, but let go of them because you can't control them. And focus on the things that you can control. And if you maximize everything you can control and optimize everything you can control, then the things that you can't control will not affect them. So maximize the things you can control, let go of the things that you can't control. And lastly, the last point, and God knows what number we're on now. It has to be number 10 unless I messed up the other numbers here. By the way, I've got a little notes thing on my screen which is telling me what the next step is. As you can tell, this is not scripted. I tend not to script. I tend to just go for it and see what happens. By the way, if anyone wants a Pink Street cup, you are welcome. I will send one to you for absolutely free. Well, I've done it now. There's limits on that. If I get 1 million people asking me to send them a cup, then I'm going to be pretty skint pretty quick. Anyway, the last tip number 10, stay away from drama and negativity. And this one is in life, and it's in property, and it's in business. Look, historically, I've always had a bit of an issue. Whenever there's drama and negativity, I've always found it really uncomfortable to deal with. And because I don't really like conflicting and stuff like that. So what I end up doing is going in aggressive and going in hard and trying to tackle drama and negativity head on, big muscular kind of, I'm not muscular, but a big head on aggressive kind of way. And I've worked on that and I don't do that anymore. But you as the business person, as the property investor, as the landlord, you need to stay away from drama and negativity. And you can do that in property by if you're a landlord with tenants and there are dramas going on, negativity, or there's all these different things that happen, you can stay away from that by using other people to fix those problems. And you could do that in business by removing negative influences, dramatic influences in your property. You can remove them from your property so that you have teams of people that are focused on the same goal as you, and you have clients that are focused on the same goal as you. Because I think, and I'd love to hear business owners' perspectives on this, if you've got 100 customers and 5 of them are really negative and demanding and dramatic and horrible and difficult to work with and costing you a lot of time and energy, I think that has more of an effect than just 5% of your customers. And hopefully that makes sense. If you've got 100 customers and 5 of them are real terrible, terrible customers, then I think that there's more of an effect than just it being focused on that 5% of your customer base. I think that takes up more of your time. It depresses your staff a bit more. It affects other areas of your business. And I think those are the people that we need to stay away from. The big question is, should you fire a client? Yes, absolutely. Get rid of any clients that are not following your goal, are not part of your vision, and are not contributing. Clients have to contribute to the business. Otherwise, what are they there for? If they're just costing you money and costing you time and costing you energy, costing your team morale, ditch them. Get rid of them. And it's the same in property. If you've got a tenant that's just doing nothing other than costing you time and energy and money and causing you stress and hassle and pressure, get rid of them. They're not welcome. That's what I would do, and I hope that's what you would do as well. So all of those 10 steps will contribute to you becoming the anonymous landlord. And you can actually outsource all of those things, except for maybe your own instincts and your own self-development and your own self-improvement. Then you can actually use all of those things to develop yourself and become an anonymous landlord, where everything's managed, everything's automated, systemized and looked after for you. Because what's the point in making a load of money from property if you've got no bloody time or energy to enjoy it? And that's what an anonymous landlord is. It is for everybody. It's the best way to make money in property and enjoy your money. So I'm just going to recap, because I'm told that people enjoy it when I do a quick recap. I don't know why. But this is the 10 steps towards becoming an anonymous landlord. It's also the 10 steps towards self-care. And if you don't spend your effort and time improving yourself and developing yourself and education for yourself to be the best version of yourself that you can be, then you're not maximizing. You're not going to be a prolific property investor. And remember my little phrase that I made up, which I love. If you want to be the best version of yourself at one thing, then you've got to be the best version of yourself at everything. And I might keep that. That might be my little sign off. I was talking to Rob Moore the other day about trying to come up with a sign off. He's got a great sign off, which is if you don't risk anything, you risk everything. And he says that at the end of every single podcast. And maybe I might say, if you want to be the best version of yourself at one thing, then you've got to be the best version of yourself at everything. Let me know what you think. Or if you've got a better sign off that's relevant to the Anonymous Landlord. Anyway, my recap. I got distracted there. Shock. I know. But anyway, 10 steps to self-care. Whoopsie daisy. This is my little microphone, by the way. Little gadget. Brilliant. 10 steps to self-care. If it feels wrong, don't do it. Say exactly what you mean and precisely what you intend to do. Don't be a people pleaser. Trust your instincts. Never speak bad about yourself and only speak good about yourself. Look at the things you've done. Look at the things you've achieved in your life. You're awesome. I promise you, you are awesome. Never give up on your dreams unless it's the wrong dream. Never give up on a good dream. There we go. That's a bit better. Don't be afraid to say no. Definitely don't be afraid to say yes. Be kind to yourself. Reward yourself for every little achievement. Even if it's a tiny achievement in life or business or property, reward yourself. Be kind to yourself. Recognize yourself for all the awesome things that you've done. In fact, right now, comment in the comments just here. If you're still with me, comment in the comments just here. Something that you've achieved in your life that you're happy with. Even if it's a tiny little thing. Happy, kids, family, business, property, a car, a house, whatever it is. You sold something, you bought something, you invented something, whatever it is. Just comment just here right now and tell me what it is that you are proud of achieving. Please do that. And also, if you're watching this a bit later, maybe you're not watching this live, maybe you're watching it a bit later, just put in the comments there and I will see them. I'll reply to every single one and just let me know what it is that you've achieved, which you're proud of, that you did really well, something good. So be kind to yourself and reward yourself and let go of what you can't control. Focus on what you can control. Maximize what you can control. Optimize what you can control. Let go of what you can't control. And lastly, stay away from drama and negativity. Literally boot it out. We don't want drama and negativity in our lives. So that's the end of the 10 steps to becoming or towards being an anonymous landlord. So don't forget, if you head over, I'll put it in the comments actually, a link to the podcast. And excuse me. And don't forget, that podcast is getting full up of loads of stuff now. I tell you what, we've just done an interview. I'm not going to give the name out, but I will build up to it in true Tom Soane style. I'll build up to it when the time is right. But it was an awesome interview. And I was even learning so much myself, so much so that I've now decided that we're going to focus a bit more of my business effort based on that advice. So whoever's if the person that I interviewed is watching this, then you'll know who I'm talking about. You'll know I'm talking about you. It was phenomenal advice. And I'm probably going to pinch a few of your tips and make a load of money out of it. Anyway, that's the podcast. Do us a favor. If you liked this, then look, it's a half an hour video. But if you liked this, then give us a share, give us a like. All I'm trying to do is help as many people as I can. I don't get paid for this. I'm literally just doing this because I love it. I might get paid for it in the future, who knows? But I just do this because I love it and it's great fun. I love sharing all of this knowledge and sharing my journey and my experiences, mistakes and successes, so that you don't have to make those mistakes and you can share my successes too. So look, if you liked all of this, give it a share, give it a like, comment, tag anybody that you think might benefit from those 10 steps to becoming an anonymous landlord. I'm still trying to figure out this sign off. I think I've got a good candidate in that. If you want to be the best version of yourself at one thing, you've got to be the best version of yourself at everything. And that's a candidate. But I'll be interested to find out any other ideas for a sign off that I could have. Until then, I'm just going to keep trying to find different ways to say My name's Tom Soane, and this is the Anonymous Landlord.